Wow, what a bunch of magical synchronicity we've been experiencing lately. Like, come on. Bitcoin all-time high on the full moon, the blood moon in October. I mean, after not selling off during the new moon previously, I literally said that could probably happen, and look how that happened. All right, here's what I'm thinking. We're coming into the last week of October. This week, it's definitely better to bet on the bullish side than the bearish side, right? I mean, obviously, there is this potential for a pullback down to this line. That would be some epic volatility. And if we did see something like that, well, that would imply that we're going to have a price that does exceed 100,000. But I want to say personally, I do not think we're going to get a pullback this week. The last week of October is way more likely to be like potentially the most bullish week ever. And let's corroborate that with what I'm seeing on the RSI. This is a really good indicator for Bitcoin because it's basic, just basic as hell. So look at this. Okay, we have resistance on the RSI. When that resistance breaks out, we get a trend reversal, okay? That's where we are right now. We have resistance that is just broken out. Well, it's a little after the trend reversal, but it confirmed this trend reversal, right? See that breakout. Now we're testing that resistance. This was resistance here. We're testing it to see if it's support. I would bet the farm personally that this is going to hold as support, and then we're going to push up higher. So this is a confluence. This indicator is a confluence, in my view, that we're going to see some upward price motion this week, and then that's going to take us into just generally uptrending into November, and that will be the end, right? Like, this is going to happen in the blink of a freaking eye. And because I don't think we're going to swing down to this line here, I really will stand by that original conviction that I had. I think I said about 88,000 that I'm looking to sell my Bitcoin, and I'm going to be even more conservative. I don't think it's even going to quite hit 80,000. If we have this bullish week, this bullish last week of October, I definitely think that indicates that 80,000 is going to be that top, and it might cut off a little bit before that. And that also corroborates with something very psychological, which is that we always expect to see these round numbers in investing. We're like looking for that 100, or we're looking for that 20 or that 50. And 9 times out of 10, maybe like 10 times out of 10, actually, in my experience, it doesn't make it to the round number. It cuts off before the round number. I do not think Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000. If we see some prolonged volatility, if this week ends up being like a downtrending, extending this move because it moved down and then it's going to have to recover, then I will change my mind, theoretically. Like, these are all dynamic systems. But my dynamic system currently is that because we're finding support right here on the RSI, that's a confluence that's telling us that coming into the last week of October, we're going to see some upward motion. Now, one last confirmation will be if the altcoins are going absolutely ballistic, okay? Whatever price Bitcoin is when altcoins are going ballistic, meaning like 10x minimum, like 10x is a benchmark, well, that will also tell us that we're at the top of Bitcoin, right? So if we do not see altcoins going ballistic and Bitcoin is at 80,000, once again, I will take into consider that data and maybe I'll change my mind. But I am looking at just like Dash, like just these coins that have been around, these coins that we have a lot of data for. I am looking for something like this for Dash right at the moment where Bitcoin is peaked out, right? Like something absolutely absurd. And you can see how much headroom we have on this. I mean, we really are standing before this like life-changing moment. And I really want you guys to like believe that. It's not, I'm not just saying it. It's like, it's insane. Like, it's insane. Like, every moment you're just out there living your life this next week, in the next month, the next 30 days, realize that, like, you might never see something quite this insane ever again. And by that, I mean something that is today valued at $211, in 30 days potentially valued over $3,000. Literally, dude. Literally. That's what I'm saying with Dash. And that's just one example. So I'm looking for that big move from Dash to confirm, to give me that confirmation that Bitcoin is at the top. I mean, the same thing applies to XRP. We have this data point from the last cycle. There's no coincidence that this is happening 2 to 3 weeks after Bitcoin tops out, right? Because this is just the money that was in Bitcoin is now getting sent through the rest of the market because whales are selling their Bitcoin and they're pumping that money into altcoins. That's what we get that final alt season. That's why it happens. That's how it happens. So retail investors are going to be like, oh, Bitcoin's just going to go forever around 70,000. They're going to start to think that. They're going to be like, oh my goodness, like this is the craziest thing ever. And the price isn't really going to go up. I actually think we might have some kind of like consolidation sort of around 75,000. Maybe a situation not so different than this. Around 75,000, and retailers like, oh, look, we have so much support around 75,000. It's definitely going to go to 100,000. Like, we're going to get that, prolonged support, and that's going to make people more bullish. But the reason the price is just going to stagnate like this is because whales will be selling Bitcoin and they will be pumping it into altcoins. I also think they will be selling Ethereum and pumping their Ethereum into altcoins. I don't think Ethereum has a whole lot more headroom. If it gets to 8,000, I would honestly be surprised. My basic indicators, my basic instinct is telling me that this week is going to be a big week for crypto. Maybe a last chance to make some bets right here. Theoretically, we could be looking back on this little indicator next week and be like, wow, that was telling us everything. Like, in theory, this is the perfect buying opportunity. Not necessarily for Bitcoin, but if you see Bitcoin as kind of representing the momentum of the market, then right here you see a point at which we really have nowhere to go but up. And if I'm wrong and this breaks support here, well, that sort of resets the RSI, and then the good news about that is that's going to change my target for Bitcoin. It's going to set up a larger volatility potential, right? Just more momentum, something like this. And that will maybe convince me that we could see actually above 100,000 at that point. But as it stands here, in sort of anticipating that this last week of October is going to be bullish. It's not going to be a pullback. It's going to be sort of maybe a little bit of consolidation or whatever, but a general uptrend. Then I do think the top of Bitcoin is about 80,000, maybe a little less than 80,000. So we'll see if that changes, but hey, theoretically, this is a great time to make your final plays. But literally, dude, it's about to be the greatest, actually life-changing month coming up here. It's like, just realize that. Realize this. This is like, wow, kid. All right, here we go. All right, Godspeed. All right, good.
Reap what you sowed, my son.